Is it going to scare me?
Might. You gotta warm up the glow plugs. It's all manual, of course.
Oh.
There's no electronics or anything. So you just have to hold this button for a little bit. Prime up the cylinders and let the glow plugs warm up. Right now, just so I don't tear up the lawn.
Right.
And it makes it easier to climb up the hill and stuff like that.
This is my first time ever in a FC.
Wow, this is the one to do it in.
I know, this is exciting.
This is our 5th annual Jeep FC Jamboree, and it's just a get-together of these old goofy cab-over Jeeps, and people come from all over the country. There's a guy from Canada here this year, and we just sit around and talk about FCs.
Okay, most people in the Jeep community probably don't know what FC is.
Good point. FC stands for forward control, that which means that the controls in the cab, you actually sit kind of in front of the engine. So it's like a cab over engine semi, a co is what they call them. So the engine sits right between the seats.
Is that hard to work on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. There's not a lot of room.
Not to mince any words, but yes.
Yeah.
So
Some of them, like this little green one here with a tilt
I
cab,
see, yeah.
that's custom. That makes it a lot easier to work on.
You've probably driven these, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
How would you compare them to the, like the CJ and the TJ and the JKs and off-road? How would they compare?
Terrifying off-road, because you sit so far forward. When you're coming down a hill, all you see is dirt, and it's terrifying to feel the back end wants to come up. You can actually feel the back tires lift.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, yeah. I've wheeled this one a lot actually, and even coming down the small incline, you could feel the back tires come off the ground.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's.
When they say tippy, this is the definition of tippy.
Definitely, definitely.
Oh my God! You're kidding me! You're not going down this! Holy! Oh! Oh! I hate tippy downhills like that.
Well, it's even scarier in something like this because you're so close to the windshield.
Yes, no, I know there's no hood.
You're the first one in an accident.
Great. Is this called gas station trail?
Sure. That's what we can call it now.
Gas station trail in Lake Mills, Iowa. Taking a ride in that mighty FC was an experience like no other. Dan was right. Even the teeniest of inclines is terrifying. Totally different experience than driving in my JKU. You have this big hood and engine in front of your windshield, not just dirt. Of course, the view you see here of that cute little mighty FC doesn't compare to sitting inside that passenger seat with just the windshield between you and the dirt.
They made several different models of them. The short ones here and there is an FC 150. They're a half-ton pickup with a short wheelbase. Originally, the very first ones in 1957 were built on a CJ5 chassis. This little blue one here is the very early narrow track. They were pretty tippy, forward and sideways, so they widened out the axles in late 58, 59 and made the wide tracks, and that's what those are. So they had a little wider stance to them.
Did Jeep make these for the military or are these for civilians?
Most of them were made for civilian market. The two doors, the pickups and things like that one with the flatbed, those were all civilian stuff. The M678 van that I have in the shop, that was strictly military. They made very, very few of those. There's only 4 of them in existence. The 4-door one down at the bottom of the hill we can go look at, that was strictly for the military also. Almost all of the military ones came with a 3-cylinder, 2-stroke diesel engine in them. Very hard to get parts for, but a very cool engine.
So what would people use these for, like out on the farm?
Yeah, a lot of them were farm vehicles, industrial, commercial things. They could be outfitted with anything on the back. They had backhoes on them. I had one, that one over there originally had a trencher on the back of it. They made them into fire trucks. Anything you could think of, they mounted to the back of these things because they were short, 4-wheel drive, and very maneuverable out in the woods or out in construction sites and things like that. So.
Well, you want to show me?
Sure. This one here, this is kind of the crown jewel in my collection. This is one of 12 custom built, stretched, extended cab, and they built them as service trucks for the Alaskan pipeline.
Oh, wow.
This is the only one left in the world. The other 11 they buried in a hole in Alaska with a bunch of school buses when they were done up there.
Why would you do that?
It cost too much money to get all the equipment stuff brought back out of Alaska, so they either just left it or they buried it.
Can we go find them and dig them up?
I know where they're at.
You know where they're at. We're going on a treasure hunt, right?
Yep. So one old guy that was working up there at the time when they were pushing them in the hole, he said, I want to keep this one. And they said, whatever, we don't care. So he threw it on a trailer and he took it down to southern Iowa and used it on his farm until he passed away in the early 90s.
Wow.
I tried to buy it then and didn't get it bought. Somebody else bought it. It went to North Carolina. It was in really, really bad shape. And I tried to buy it every year. It took me 13 years and I finally bought it and brought it home, and it took me 4 years to restore this. So it's a pretty special truck. I didn't modify the cab at all. I restored that back to original. The bed that was on it when I got it was a homemade flatbed, so that went away. I got these utility bed sides and made them fit. I did update the drivetrain in it a little bit just to make it a little more drivable. The motor and drivetrain in it was no good. So yeah, it's one of a kind. So.
How about this little guy here? He's cute.
This little guy, his name is Chomper.
Chomper?
Yep. And this originally had, not from the factory, it was custom built. It had a 7.5-foot snowblower on the front of it with twin engines. It had an engine in the back that powered the snowblower. I have videos of it running on my YouTube thing.
Oh, okay.
And it's
what's your YouTube channel?
FC and the number 2. FC
Okay.
Dan, or FC Dan and the number 2.
Okay.
And there's videos of this thing running and blowing snow. It's absolutely amazing. When we moved to town, it was too dangerous. At idle, it would throw rocks across the street at the neighbor's garage.
Ooh.
So I had to take the blower off.
Not a good idea.
Yep. Here's the engine compartment here. So here's how you check the antifreeze and the oil.
Oh, wow.
And then if you need to get at more of the motor, you can pull
Just
these
pull
off and
those.
pull the whole cover off. And it's easier to work on an FC-150 because of this engine cover.
Right.
On the 70s, it's a whole tunnel, and you have a lid that lifts up here, and then an access cover here that you have to unscrew to get at the motor. We can see that in Clifford there if you want to see that. This is
It's custom?
Yep, this one's a custom-made one. This one came up from Missouri. A friend of mine, he bought this one, kind of built this way. This one's name is Flipper. Pretty much all the Jeeps have names.
So the old school guys name
We
their
all
Jeeps
name their
too.
Jeeps too, yes.
So Chompers and Flipper. Who was the red one's name?
That one's Clifford.
Clifford.
Yep.
Oh, the big red dog.
Yep, big red Jeep. The little blue tow truck is Krusty. That one's Clementine.
Aw.
The blue one here, the dually, is Tiny. The red one is Six Pack. The green one is Smoky. And the little van is Marilyn. I don't know the name of that one if he has a name yet. So, yeah. So that's tiny. It's a 1-ton dually. That one's a 1958. It's the first year of the dually. They only made about 1,900 of the dualies. So that one's fairly rare. The one next to it with the tilt cab, that's a custom built 6x6. It's not actually 6-wheel drive, unfortunately. It would be really cool if it was.
Right.
But I bought this from an older gentleman up in Wisconsin who started building it back in the 70s to haul his lawnmower tractors on. And he lost his job at the shoe factory he worked and didn't have any money to work on it. So he parked it in the barn, and it sat there until 3 years ago when I was able to get it from him and get it fixed up and running and get it painted. And sent him pictures of it, and he cried.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
probably touched his heart.
Yep. So it's a pretty cool truck. It takes up a lot of real estate in my shop because it's so long, but it's really cool. So
And this little guy here,
this one is Smokey. This is an original military 4-door one. They made 400 of these, again strictly for the military. This one runs and drives with its original 3-cylinder diesel 2-stroke engine in it. There's only about 3 of them in the country that still run with their original motor. This one is untouched. It has about 11,000 actual miles on it. When it was decommissioned from the Marines, it went into Kentucky Civil Defense, and it was painted white. They just sprayed on the white paint over everything, the glass and everything. And when I got it, it was running. And I started stripping it to restore it, and I found the original numbers underneath the white paint. So the numbers on the door are the actual numbers that it was assigned when it was in the Marines. So
what years was it with the Marines?
the military ones were only made in '64.
Okay.
It was the only year they made the 4-doors. The vans, they were started in '64, but they didn't actually finish them until '65 because they were waiting on engines for them. But that's all.
Were they ever overseas?
Yes, they did ship quite a few of them overseas. I've talked to a few different guys that were in the service over in Southeast Asia, and they told me stories of driving these trucks. It's fun to hear the stories from the guys that actually used these during war times and things like that. This one is really unique. Originally, it was a 2-door pickup like the ones at the top of the hill, and it was sent to Sweden, and a coach building company turned it into a van. They did several of them, and they used it. This one particularly was for the Forest Service, and they used it to haul lumberjacks up into the woods to cut trees down and stuff. A friend of mine, the same one that owns that little tilt cab there, found it in Poland and had it shipped over here from Poland several years ago.
Oh my
So it's the
gosh.
only one in the United States.
This is one of a kind.
Yep. Yep.
Would be able to go off-road, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's 4-wheel drive. Yeah, all the FCs are 4-wheel drive from the factory. There was never a 2-wheel drive option on them.
Do you think they could make it through like the Rubicon Trail, or?
I actually know a couple guys that have taken FCs like this green one here on the Rubicon Trail, and they made it. It was tough, but they've done it.
Right.
Yep. So, but the 4-wheel drive systems in them are really strong. And you can put V8s behind the stock drivetrain, and it'll hold up to it for the most part. So,
Wow.
yeah. So they were built as work trucks. So
Yeah, what's this guy's name again?
that's Maryland.
Maryland.
Yep.
And it's the coolest color, too. How cool is this? This would be like the perfect overland camping.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be awesome?
Put all your stuff on top.
Yep.
Make your little house in there, your little bed.
Yep. Yeah, it's super cool. It's had a rough life, but it lives on, and it runs, and it drives good. And the owner of it, Rich from Complete Off-Road, he drives it, and he wheels it, and he wheels it hard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he has some cool videos of it out there driving through creeks and off-road park and stuff like that. It's
Where's Complete Off-Road out of?
Dubuque, Iowa.
Okay.
So both of these two are his.
Okay.
This one with the rooftop tent on it. And he slept in here last night through the rain. He comes up every year with these two, and he sleeps in that tent every year.
So it's funny when you think of Iowa, you really don't think of Jeeps and off-roading, but there is a serious group of Jeepers in Iowa.
Oh yeah,
that-
absolutely. Yep. And there's some in Iowa it's flat for the most part. It's hard to find places to go wheeling, but there are a few places. Dubuque over by where Rich is at, they've got some kind of a private off-road park there, and there's one down by Castana, Iowa. There's a private park there. So, but to find any place to wheel in Iowa, it's tough.
Right.
So,
What was the benefit of?
the short wheelbase with the cab, well, like the dually there, that's an 11-foot flatbed. So to get an 11-foot flatbed on a Ford or a Chevy or something, you'd had to have a really, really long wheelbase to get that much cargo space. With the short cab and a relatively short wheelbase, only 103 inches, you have 11-foot cargo box there. The pickups, like this one here, which could have had a pickup box on it, had a 9-foot bed on it. Chevy and a Ford of the same time, you could get an 8-foot pickup box, but it was a really long truck. So this just made these a lot more maneuverable for their size.
And for transporting supplies, people,
yeah.
whatever.
Yep. So like this one here with a pickup box has the troop seats in the back for hauling people.
Oh, okay.
So, and then it had an aluminum canopy on it like a topper with a canvas door in the back. So you could put 6 people back here and haul troops or whatever you wanted to, or you can fold the seats up and you can hold cargo in there.
Oh, so this whole thing.
Yeah, so this lifts up and there's the engine there. And then if you need to get at more of it, the front of the engine or the radiator, then this unscrews.
Well, and you probably don't have to worry about the computer and electronics in these vehicles.
No,
just
not at
good
all.
old-fashioned.
Yeah, you can fix pretty much anything on these with a screwdriver and a 1/2-inch or 7/16 wrench. They're super simple to work on if you know older engines. And parts, mechanical parts, you can get for them. Body parts, non-existent. You pretty much have to make
fabricate
everything.
your own.
Yep.
Oh, and you got ducks.
Oh yeah, I got ducked at a show a few months or last month. So, but this one.
Oh, that's cool. Your little cooking kitchen.
Yep. So this one I built as kind of an overlanding vehicle.
Right.
So I have kitchen and camping stuff on this side. The other side is spare parts and tools and things. I'm going to build a rack here. I have a Smitty built rooftop tent that'll come out.
Okay.
That'll mount up here.
Kind of like the guy over there.
Yep.
And
Yep. And then in here, I've got a refrigerator.
oh,
underneath the
wow.
seat. And then this seat will fold out into a bed also if we needed to have a little extra sleeping.
Right.